Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. My name is Kenny, and today folks we're going to do something that we haven't done in a while, and we're going to show you how to make Grandma's old-fashioned sauerkraut. Something that we don't do too often, but listen, I'm an outdoor man. I like to be outdoors. But today, as you can tell, we are inside our kitchen once again, and this is where you make this stuff at. And outside is where I want to be, but during the summertime, that's when I take a little time to really just slow down and do a lot of canning. And listen, with so much price such a price increase with food, and it seemingly is just getting worse every day. The prices are just going up, 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 up. It only makes sense to raise your own garden and grow your own food and process it yourself. So you hang around and we will show you how to do this, okay? Alright, now we are going to take this step by step, folks, and show you how to make Grandma's old-fashioned sauerkraut. Now I can tell you that this recipe that I'm going to show and give to you has been handed down for generations in my family. Now I'm showing you some cabbage heads. It starts out with fresh cabbage that has been taken from your garden. This has been taken from my garden, but this recipe has been handed down for generations in my family, and to me it's valuable. And it all starts with a big head of cabbage, such as I am showing you here. And really it's not a great absolutely not a big deal, if you will, to really make sauerkraut, but you just need to know a few steps, and a lot of people really don't know those steps, and I hope this will help you. And if it does, let us know about it. But we're going to show you exactly how it's done, and like I said, it starts off with the cabbage and a knife. Now there's many ways of processing sauerkraut. There's lots of kitchen things that you can use to shred it, chop it, cut it up, whatever. But this is an old-fashioned way that is rarely ever used anymore. So it starts, like I said, right here in the pan with the big cabbage head. But I'm going to show you step by step. I usually take the knife like this and I start. Now cabbage heads, you got to take a certain amount of time with them, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, now folks, watch what I'm doing here. I had to get a bigger knife, but simply take a large knife like this and just begin to do it like that. Take it like that. That cabbage is so crispy. Just cut it like that. Now you're cutting this for a reason, because you have got to chop this. I do. Just do it like that with your hand. This is the way my grandmother did it. She handed it down through the generations. Like that. Now this stalk, we're getting to the stalk. There's your stalk. Now, let me sit this up here like this. And I'm going to remove that. Now this is your stainless steel, what I use. It's a chopper, simply like this. Now this is work. It is work. And you continue chopping this head like this. My knife is making a noise there. Not many men do this, folks. It might be that I am an endangered species when it comes to making sauerkraut, because most men would shy away from this and they say that is a job for the woman to do. Let me tell you something. There are times when there's a lot of things that we may not like doing, but sometimes you gotta do them. And the old saying is, a man has got to do what a man's got to do, and that applies to anyone. But just take your time like this, with this old-fashioned method, and you got to transform that into sauerkraut, which I am not through with that yet, but that is the way that I do it. Okay, we're moving right along, folks. I have went ahead. As you can see, I have got this just right. This is the way I like it. It is chopped. Now, many people do like shredded kraut. They like to shred it, but I like it finely chopped like this. This is the way my grandmother, my mother did this. Now you can do it, you can chop it to your own consistency. I mean, thin, thick, chunky, whatever you like, really, but I like it like this. I like it like this because it's the right texture for sauerkraut. Now, folks, let me say this about sauerkraut. This is some of the most nutritious food on the planet. Now, I'm talking about this stuff has got what your body really, really needs. I mean, you give your body what it should have and what it needs, and let me tell you, you won't have nearly as many health issues by not doing so. Now, the next step for this is a big wide mouth jar, big mason jar. You want to stuff this. Take it like this with your fingers. Use your fingers and let them do the walking right through this. You want to pack it. Pack it like this. Pack it like that. To just keep right on packing it till it gets full. See, take your fingers like that. Now I've got big fingers, so I can do it really, really easy. It's so simple to do. Pack it like that inside that jar and just keep on stuffing like that. See, that jar is just about finished. You don't want to fill it up to the rim. Leave some room for some other stuff. All right, now you can see that that one is ready. We've got it ready. All right, now here's the final step to this, folks. The next step to this process is simple. Right here is canning salt. This is pickling salt. Now, this is the only ingredient that you need in this sauerkraut. contrary to what some people will tell you and what they say. And of course, they will tell you that you've got to put vinegar in this in order to make it work. It will work with vinegar, but I find that your sauerkraut will be somewhat bitter when you put vinegar in your sauerkraut. All you need is a tablespoonful of pickling salt, like this. A tablespoonful of pickling salt, and just sprinkle it on top like that. Very simple to do. Now you can add vinegar to that if you want to, but in my experience your sauerkraut could be somewhat bitter, and you don't want that. Now the next step, this is boiling water. It has actually been turned off. It is super hot. Listen, don't make the mistake of making sauerkraut with cold water. You don't want to do that. You have got to start with hot water. Now notice, I'm pouring that hot water down on top of that salt. Now you've got to give that time to settle down and go down into the bottom, and then you just simply fill it right back up. Hot water makes your sauerkraut. If you put cold water in your sauerkraut, well, let me say this much. Many of you have probably wondered why your sauerkraut maybe goes bad in a very short time, and it might turn dark in color. This could be the reason you're putting cold water in your sauerkraut rather than hot water. Hot water helps that salt pickle and ferment that sauerkraut. If you put cold water in there, it just will not work. So you need to keep that in mind. Hot water. Now we're going to add some more to that. Hot water does the work. It does not work with cold water. Now, another thing about cold water, if you put it in there, your sauerkraut will discolor. And I'm talking about it could turn even black within 6 months, and you'll have to throw it out because it just does not work. I've had so many people, and I've heard of so many people talk about how that they say, well, how do you put your, what type of water do you put in your sauerkraut? Hot water. Well, I've been using cold water. Don't make that mistake. This is my grandmother's old-fashioned recipe, and let me tell you, it works. And it's the only way that I make sauerkraut. And of course, just finish filling that up like this. And it looks like it's just about, yeah, it's just a little bit longer. It seeps right on down a little bit more. But then again, it won't take but just a little while. And then you'll be ready to seal the lid. Now make sure, this is the final step to this. When you let that water really get into that and become settled, it won't take but just a few minutes for that to happen. Do not seal your lid immediately when you get this done. Do not seal that lid immediately. You need to leave that lid off for at least 12 to 14 hours because that's going to do it's going to produce a lot of gas down in there. That salt and that hot water, it will produce a lot of gas, and that gas has got to escape out of that jar during that settling process. So you leave it unsealed for at least 12 to 14 hours, and then you are ready to go. And that's the way that it really, that's the way it works. That's how you make old-fashioned sauerkraut. All right, so we have given you our grandmother's old-fashioned sauerkraut recipe, and let me tell you, that sauerkraut is awesome, and that's been handed down for many generations. And let me tell you, when you use it properly, just follow the instructions that I gave to you, and I guarantee you, you will have some of the finest sauerkraut on the planet because it is so good. And this will last. Let me tell you, I have got sauerkraut in my closet. In my food pantry, I've got sauerkraut that's 4 years old, canned, using this method that I just showed to you, that I gave to you. And it is still good. It is still good. As long as it's white, as long as your mason jar, the color of it is white on the outside, your sauerkraut is fine. Now, if it's turning dark and it looks discolored, you need to discard it because it is no good any longer. But I've got some that's 4 years old and it is still good. So we appreciate you this evening, or this afternoon rather, and I want to thank you for viewing our videos. We are here to try to help someone, and that's the only thing we're trying to do, is trying to help someone with this, giving this recipe out. And pass it along to somebody that might be interested in really making some sauerkraut for themselves. But we want to thank you for viewing our videos. And listen, subscribe to the channel if you like this. Just go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click that like button, and we would appreciate it. And you have a wonderful, blessed evening, and we'll talk to you